When I was 17, I started having serious conflicts with my dad, who was known for his hot temper. Over the years, these arguments grew worse, escalating to the point where I often had no choice but to leave the house for my own safety. Sometimes I stayed at a friend's place, but other times I had to check into a hotel. On May 9th, 2015, I was 21 years old, and after yet another explosive argument with my dad about personal issues I don't want to go into, I knew I had to get out of the house. I checked into a nearby hotel, a modest place, literally half a mile from my house. The room cost a little less than $100, which felt like a lot to throw away for just a night, but I had nowhere else to go. It was still early in the day, around 4 p.m., which was unusual for my escapes. These outbursts typically happened later at night. I decided to clear my head and went to the outdoor pool. The pool was completely empty. The hallways were silent, the lobby empty except for the desk worker. The hotel felt almost abandoned. It was May, not peak tourist season, but still, the emptiness gave me an uneasy feeling. My room was on the second floor, right in the middle of the hallway. I had no idea why the hotel staff had chosen that particular room for me, since there were so few guests. Something about the placement felt strange, but I tried to ignore it. After a while at the pool, I returned to my room. I tried to relax, watch a little TV, and let the stress of the argument fade away. That's when I first heard it, a faint tapping on the door. I paused. "Housekeeping?" I called out. But no one answered. I shrugged, thinking maybe it was just someone walking by, and I ignored it. Then I heard the beep of the lock. My heart sank. The door was slowly opening. My stomach twisted. "No, not right now," I said, my voice shaking slightly. I couldn't see the person because of a wall blocking my line of sight from the bed. There was a pause. Then, out of nowhere, the door slammed shut. My heart leapt into my throat. I rushed into the hallway, my nerves on edge, to see who it was. Nobody was there. I looked left and right. Empty doors lined the hallway, all unoccupied. Then, at the far end of the hall, I caught a glimpse of a woman's leg disappearing around a corner. How had she moved so fast? My pulse was racing. I ran down the hallway to see if she had turned another corner. But I saw nothing, just maybe 20 closed doors, all empty. Confused and increasingly alarmed, I went to the front desk to complain about the strange behavior. The receptionist looked at me, unbothered, and said, "That must be Rosa. I'll question her about slamming the door later." My stomach sank. This wasn't just odd, it was threatening. I tried to shake off the unease and decided to go eat at the nearby TGI Fridays. When I returned to my room, I was on the phone with my mom. She told me not to come home because my dad was still furious. I explained how depressed and exhausted I was from everything, and she understood. I hung up around 8 p.m. and tried to wind down. I brushed my teeth, watched a little TV, and went to bed around 9, hoping sleep would wash away the lingering tension. But sleep didn't come peacefully. I awoke to a noise, something I couldn't immediately identify. I rubbed my eyes, sat up, and listened carefully. Then I heard it. A low, chilling voice whispering, "You have to let them in." I froze. Slowly, I realized someone was standing at the left edge of my bed. The figure was tall, looming, and covered in dark clothing. My heart felt like it had stopped. Fear and nausea overwhelmed me simultaneously. The figure reached for me, grabbing around my throat. Her words were fragmented, menacing. You piece of... I couldn't make out the rest. Despite the weak grip, panic surged through me, and I managed to break free. I bolted for the door, hearing her follow me. My adrenaline pushed me faster than I'd ever run. She stopped at the room entrance. I sprinted down the hallway to the front desk, my mind racing with terror. When I reached the receptionist, she confirmed my worst fears. One of the employees had lost a master key, a key that gave access to every room in the hotel. It was supposed to be reported immediately, but it hadn't been. I was furious, shaking, and terrified all at once. I contacted the police, gave them all the information I could, and demanded a full refund. That night, I finally went home. My dad, surprisingly, showed a hint of sympathy when I explained what had happened. Since that night, I've never had to leave home out of fear. But the memory lingers. Every time I check into a hotel, I can't help but glance down the empty hallways, imagining the shadow of someone who shouldn't be there. I have no idea whatever happened to that woman, that crazy, dangerous woman who tried to get into my room. But the memory remains vivid, a chilling reminder of how close I came to a terrifying reality.